Nigerian Yoruba separatist campaigner Sunday Igboho has appeared in court in Cotonou in Benin. His international arrest warrant is being examined. If it's found to be in order, he'll be extradited to Nigeria. If there are any issues, the case will be referred to the prosecutor for the next steps. Reports say his wife, who is believed to be a German citizen, has appealed to the German embassy in Nigeria for help. The Nigerian government declared Igboho wanted for allegedly stockpiling arms after he called for anti-government protests.
All right, we're joined now by Arise News analyst, Dr. Sam Amadi. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight.
Thank you.
Well, the Igboho case seems to be a basket case that just refuses to go away, at least not anytime soon. Now, if the warrant is found to be valid, what's the process for extradition and how long would it take?
Well, essentially, the arrest is at the behest of probably the Nigerian government has already written to most of the Nigerian institutions, custom and embassies, indicating that Mr. Sunday Igboho is wanted by the Nigerian government. And so the Interpol, as a policing force, has a responsibility to execute those warrants and probably did that in this case. But then the arrest of somebody by Interpol in a different country does not necessarily constitute a framework for bringing him to trial. So what does provide that is now what they call extradition, which means there will be a formal process. And now it depends on two issues. One is if that country has a treaty, a extradition treaty. Benin Republic has an extradition act that allows it to enter into treaty with countries, and it's been said that Nigeria has a treaty with Benin. So essentially, there's a formal compliance to proceeding. The second is also the domestic law. So where there are treaties, and the treaties are based on the act will specify the kind of evidence process. But generally, under international law, the only basis in which you can take a national from a different country to your own country for trial, respecting both sovereignty of those countries and the need for justice in your own country, is through this formal process. So what that means, therefore, is that the Nigerian government will now have to request for Sunday Igboho to be extradited. There will be some kind of either magistrate court or high court proceeding. And what, for example, in the case of even Benin Republic itself in 2019 to 2018-19, where they tried to bring back their former foreign finance minister, who was caught in Spain by Interpol at the request, in fact, facing trial. A case was already pending against him. And the Benin government lost. The Benin government lost because they couldn't provide three things. One, they didn't show enough evidence. They didn't show that this is not political persecution, and they didn't show that there will be fair trial at the court against criminal and terrorism crimes. So primarily, the Nigerian government has certified that one, there's a real charge against this person. Secondly, it's going to face clear trial, and thirdly, there's enough evidence to tie him to the offense for which he's being accused.
Let's talk about the fact of his passport. The immigration officer suspected his passport and stopped him. So he seems to have a case to answer in both Benin Republic and Nigeria, where he's been accused of stockpiling arms. What's your sense of these two scenarios?
Well, two things may happen. First, assuming he took a fraudulent, unauthorized passport of the Republic to travel out of the country, that's an offense. I hear that it's an offense about 25 years imprisonment of that offense itself. So two things can happen. The government of Benin Republic can decide to try him. Now, what that means that committing a crime in that country gives it the jurisdiction to try that Nigerian. The Nigerian government will now provide consular services to Sunday Igboho, who is actually wanted by the Nigerian government to face fair trial. Alternatively, based on an arrangement, the Benin Republic can decide to extradite him to face this offense, and he might have a case of double trial. I mean, assuming he escapes or doesn't get convicted for whatever Nigerian government has against him, the Nigerian government can extradite him to Benin Republic to face trial for violating domestic law, namely consular law related to passports. Again, the Nigerian relationship with Benin Republic is that Benin Republic fancies itself as a friend of Nigeria. In fact, sometimes the print talks about being the 37th state of Nigeria. So one could see Nigeria greater leverage. So maybe the Benin Republic might kind of cover up these other domestic crime and maybe proceed to transfer to Nigeria. So, but that would depend on both the public, foreign officials there, the lawyers, what they're going to do in Benin Republic. I understand that the lawyers are already on ground. So that will play out both in the courts, as it were, and in consular offices.
Okay, but what do you make of a seeming diplomatic stalemate brewing between Nigeria and Republic of Benin? And Igboho's lawyers are claiming that Igboho is being, ill-treated. He's been tied, arms and legs, according to them, being treated like an animal. What is Republic of Benin's history when it comes to, prisoner treatment?
I think Republic of Benin has somewhat gone through a transformation in the last couple of, let's say, 1 or 2 decades. Basically, like 10 years ago. It used to be a very brutal state. Let's not forget the concept of gendarme started there. When it used to be Kereku, it was really a brutal state with a lot of secret police. So the tradition of, by the way, their foreign affairs minister, the finance minister was tried in absentia and sentenced, even though this, Spain refused extradition and is still a fugitive. So it's a country that has a history of brutality, I would say. And the country has a history, maybe not a history of, of the democratic tolerance, the way we think about it. So people can come and talk against government. I see, especially in an African country, a sense in which leaders seem to psychologically tune up to the fact that they need to stop the nationals of those countries from antagonizing the state. Think about Cameroon and Nigeria. Under Buhari, we had to force them back to face trial. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Republic does not treat him with the level of dignity that his lawyers are talking about.
All right.
It's typical African, I would say. But let's watch,
Let me chip in this before we let you go. Actually, the story has, I'm gathering, is that Nigeria wanted him extradited on Wednesday. Today's Thursday. That was yesterday. But Benin wants due process to be followed.
Absolutely.
2 questions. How long, in a brief, how long does it take for that to happen? And do you see a rift between Nigeria and Benin, saying due process should be followed?
Well, I think 2 factors. This pretty clear case than Nnamdi Kanu's case, arrested by police, clearly. Nobody's doubting who arrested him, by government. So the trial, it'll be simple. You go through a extradition trial. Two questions are there. Is there enough evidence to link him with a crime? And people are talking about political self-determination as a political activity. So if the government cannot show clear evidence of criminality, it might be difficult. And again, the cultural link between Benin Republic and Nigeria, Southwest particularly, may play to the advantage of Igboho in the sense that sympathies will come in and then the political leverage might be weakened by that.
All right. Thank you so much, Doctor, for throwing light on these issues.